I honestly thought the side trim on the Cruiser was beyond saving. It was scratched, it was faded, it made the whole car look really old. But after a simple repaint, it looks brand new. It makes the whole car look better as well. In this video, I'll show you how I did it so you can follow along step by step and do the exact same thing to your setup. Let's get straight into it. Those of you with an old car will know exactly what I'm talking about. For some reason, the bull bar stays nice and shiny, so does the snorkel, it looks really good, the roof racks look awesome, but for some reason the trim just fades so quickly and you can tell it's a 25-year-old car. It's scratched everywhere, it's faded, it just honestly doesn't look that good, and it's meant to be one of those things that pops out and makes the car look great, but just doesn't do it anymore. So in this video, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to repaint the trim and make it look like a brand new car, and I'll show you exactly how to do it as well. So the parts you need for this job are actually pretty common, and you can find them at any hardware store or car shop or anything like that. So what we need first is just some cleaning equipment. So I've got some rags, got a bucket of soapy warm water here, also some isopropyl alcohol, which is it cleans it really well and gets rid of any oils and leftover soap from the soapy water, so that's a must-have. You also need different grits of sandpaper. So I've got 4 different types here. I've got 320, 400, 800 and 1200. So we'll use those at different stages of the painting, and I'll show you when and where to use them. Next we have the primer. So this is very, very important. You must have this, otherwise your paint will flake off and will not last at all. So this is just a plastic primer. Any brand or any type will do, as long as it's for plastic. So that's what I've got here. And then the last thing is the actual paint. Now this is a satin black because I don't want to go too glossy or too matte. So this is kind of in between. It should be nice and shiny, but not look too, fake or too, aftermarket painted. It should still look nice and stock. This is also an enamel paint, which means it's oil-based and will last a lot longer than acrylic would. So that's all the parts we have to work with. Now I'll show you the process of how to paint.
Before we start painting though, I have to get these old trims clean. So I took a trip down to the local car wash, threw a few coins in and gave these old trims a bit of a birthday. After that, I got home and saw that there's still a lot of red Australian dust stuck on these trims. So I got the bucket of soapy water and gave them a really good scrub down, followed by the isopropyl alcohol to get rid of any leftover residue that might be left by the soapy water.
Now that the trim is nice and clean, we can finally get into preparing the surface for painting. Now the first step to doing that is called keying it. And what that means is basically this trim is, see how it's nice and shiny? That is bad for painting. We don't want it to be shiny because paint won't stick to it as well. So we've got to take that shine off. And how to do that is with some sandpaper. So this is 800 grit sandpaper, which is very, very fine, but it is just rough enough to take off this shine. So what you want to do is grab this sandpaper, and I'll just fold it up a bit so it's easy to work with. Just like that, and then lightly sand the trim that you're painting. Now you don't want to go too hard, otherwise you'll gouge into the trim and actually cause some damage. So you don't want to do that. Just go very lightly, very light touch, and you can see straight away how it's roughing up the surface. Now it still feels very smooth because it's very fine sandpaper, but it's enough for the paint to stick to it a lot better. Rightio, so that's pretty good there. I'm not sure if you can see it in the camera, but it is a lot more scuffed up and definitely not as shiny as the bit right next to it. So now we've got to do that to every other bit of trim that we're painting.
So I got stuck into sanding every single piece of trim that I was going to paint. Afterwards, I got the soapy water and gave another clean, followed by the isopropyl alcohol, just to get rid of any dust left over from the sanding.
Okay, so now that our trim is all sanded back and clean, it is time to mask off the areas that we don't want to get painted. Now, because I'm using spray paint, obviously it's going to spray all over the side of the car as I spray the trim. So to stop that, I've got some newspaper here and just a bit of masking tape. I'm going to mask off the areas I don't want paint. Now you have to be very, very careful and methodical when you do this, because there's tiny little spots like between the two trims here that you have to cover up as well. Otherwise you'll get paint in there and it just won't look that good. So the most important thing is to go slow, make sure you cover every single area, and yeah, the more time you spend here, the better it'll look. It is quite slow and it's quite a boring process, but the good thing is if you use newspaper, you can actually read it while you put it on, so you know, keeps you entertained. Looks like I'm wrapping my car in some sort of like cool new newspaper wrap. Okay, now the car is finally masked up and I've given it one more clean with the isopropyl alcohol, so it's all ready to start painting. Now the first step for painting is the plastic primer, which helps the paint stick to the plastic. Now depending on what primer you buy will determine how you put it on, but basically this one says to do 3 very light coats and then let it dry for 1 hour, and then do 3 light coats again and leave it for another hour. So after that it should give a nice even smooth finish and yeah, coat the entire plastic. So guess what I'm doing now? Painting this. Rightio, so I'll get some better lighting. Rightio, so the primer is all done now. It's looking nice and even, nice and smooth. I did yeah, 2 lots of three coats, and that was enough to make it, yeah, nice and smooth and even and consistent, and yeah, it looks really good. So now this is ready to actually paint, which is exciting. So before we do that though, we just gotta sand it with some sandpaper. Now this is the 1200 grit. This is a very, very fine sandpaper, and it's the same as before. You just don't want to go too heavy, just a light sand with this, just to scuff it up, just to key up the surface. And that'll be enough to help the paint to actually stick a lot better. So yeah, sanding it, and then I'll wipe it down with the isopropyl alcohol one more time, and then we can actually get into painting it. Now this is slightly different paint to what I had at the start of the video, because I realised the one I bought at the start didn't have any UV protection, whereas this one does, so it should last a lot longer being out in the sun, like this car will be. So I've got the paint, it's still enamel based though, so it should stay on there for a long time. And the application process, again, it varies between what brand you get, but this one is the exact same as the primer. So you spray it on 3 light coats to cover everywhere and leave it to sit for an hour, and then come back and do the same thing again. And doing that 2 or 3 times should give a decent, even, consistent coat. So yeah, I think that's all there is to it. Let's get painting. All right, this is the part that is really satisfying. Now you'll see after that first quick pass by, it hasn't covered it very well at all. It's very, very splotchy, and yeah, not a very consistent covering, but that is what it's supposed to look like. You're not supposed to go too heavy at all. So just do that, let it dry for 30 seconds to a minute, and then do it again. Same thing, let it dry for 30 seconds to a minute, and then do it one more time, and then after that it should look a lot more covered. That's the second coat done, and yeah, she is looking very, very nice and smooth. Very, very consistent covering. Yeah, it looks great. So yeah, super happy with it so far. I'm just gonna leave it to dry for another hour, and then hopefully it settles down and we can pull the newspaper off and see what it actually looks like. Okay, it has been probably 45 minutes to an hour. And I think this paint is now dry enough, yeah, that I can pull this, don't tell me, pull the newspaper off, and yeah, reveal what we've been spending the last day on. So I'm super excited. Hopefully it looks good. First piece revealed against the plain white metal of the cruiser, and geez, it stands out so much more. That looks so good. I can't believe like how good it looks. It's just crazy. I can't wait to see what the whole car is going to look like when I'm all done. So I'm going to get stuck into that. I'm going to go very slow and carefully, so it'll take a while, but it's going to be so worth it at the end. Just finished taking all the tape and the newspaper off. Are you ready for the reveal? I'll show you. Let's get you to a good spot first. Alright, ready for this? Check that out. Look at that. Look how clean it looks. It is so like, it's so smooth. It looks so good. It's come up so nice. It's like not too glossy. It's not like shining or reflecting in your face. It's not matte. It looks nice and polished and clean, and oh, the enamel satin black paint comes up so well, especially against the white, and oh, it just looks so good. I am blown away with how much this tiny detail can improve the overall look of a whole car. It's actually crazy. You wouldn't have seen this yet, but this other side is done as well. Check that out. Look how nice it looks, both sides done. Oh, it just looks so much better. Now my newspaper job was actually pretty good. Like there's not any spots along the side here that, you know, paint's oversprayed and got underneath the newspaper or anything. So I was a bit nervous about that, but I did cover it pretty well. There's only one spot though that got a bit of overspray, which is inside the door here. I don't know if you can see it very easily, but just here, a tiny bit of overspray. I just missed a little bit of tape. Should have stuck right there, it would have covered it perfectly. But yeah, a little bit just got away on me, and yeah, it just goes to show how careful you have to be when you're taping these things up. But honestly, it's not that bad, and I'm not concerned about it at all, considering, you know, DIY job, doing it all yourself, and getting this kind of finish, it just looks so good. Well, there you go guys, that is how to repaint any piece of plastic trim on your car. Now, I actually really enjoyed doing this job. It was a bit tedious at times, but overall it is so satisfying. And yeah, it turned out so well. I'm so happy with it. And also that makes a good point of never be afraid to do your own DIY work. Even though, you know, it might be a bit daunting at the start, just do a bit of research, you know, a bit of ChatGPT always helps. And you'll eventually work out how to do it, what to do, and just hook in, have a go, you know. What's the worst that can happen? Well, yeah, make sure you do your research. But no, anyways, I loved doing this upgrade on the cruiser, and I can't wait for what's coming next. I'm not going to spoil it, but it is going to be in the back of the car. So subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and I'll see all you guys then. Thanks for watching.